Cheers, y'all. Happy wine and design. So it is fall planter season again. It has been quite a while since I've done an updated planter tutorial. So I'm going to do one obviously today, and this is going to be an extended video, longer one that I normally do for YouTube. So I'll show you my 3 favorite styles of fall planters and plants to use for them. So the first one I'm going to do will be all floral except for the spiller. Now, just a refresher, or if you've never watched one of the planter tutorials that I do, a planter is composed of a thriller, a filler, and a spiller. So the thriller is normally tall and rather dramatic. The filler are your medium height plants. A lot of times I'll do those as my more colorful ones. And then the spiller, I'll show an example, is a plant that's going to drape over the side. So it really, in my opinion, actually the spiller ends up being the spotlight for the planter. But I just have a personal preference for that. I think it really makes it wow. So to get started, I've already filled the pot with soil. Using good soil that's specifically for potted plants is key. So I've done that. I put some plant fertilizer in here, and the soil's a bit damp. So now let's get going. I'm going to back up and talk just a little bit about how I select plants when I go shopping for them. So kind of in my mind I have an idea, but until I get to the plant shop, I really don't know what is available. There have been times where, actually just today when I went shopping for some ornamental kale and some cabbage, that was what I was going to do. I wanted just a really big plant and it just wasn't available. So then I just started gathering plants that spoke to me, and I thought, do I want color? Do I want a lot of texture? Do I want to mix it all? Also, what are the prices like? So right now there were great deals on violas and pansies, so I bought a lot of those. And as I'm collecting them on my cart, I'll start like setting them out and just kind of playing around and moving things around on the cart to see what composition looks best. So this first one started, like I said, with the deals. So I found some wonderful orange pansies, and that's what will be the main thing going on in here is orange pansies. And then, because I did go to Tennessee, we've got the orange pansies and then these white dianthus. And what I'm going to use the dianthus as, those will be my thrillers, because those are going to be the top ones. And then these pansies are my fillers. And then my always favorite is Creeping Jenny. I have tried other filler or other spillers, whether it be ivy or petunias will also drape but flower. I always go back to these, and officially today I've decided, just going forward, I don't care if it's cliche, these will always be my spillers. So I like to start with the thriller. You can do, the way I'm going to do this one is with the tall in the middle and then kind of build down like an upside down cone. But depending on where you're situating your pot, on your step, on your back porch or wherever, you could also do the tall ones at the back and then have it do kind of an angle. I have a friend who has a bar restaurant here in Atlanta, and there are 2 planters that I do for him that are right at his door, and they have that nice little taper to them when I do it. So, all right. I do not use gardening gloves. It just feels weird. I like my hands in the dirt. So, just squeeze around, loosen up the pot. I will say, so I get all of my plants in Atlanta at Pike, and the quality there is a difference. They are more expensive than going to some of the other big box stores, but the quality is worth it. So when you take that out of here, and the reason I bring that up is this is it is not bone dry, it's not falling apart because it is good quality. So you want to just get in here and break it up. And what you're doing is you're loosening things up so that the roots will be able to get in. I'm doing it in the middle and take root. So I have 2 of these. And this would work with me, that'd be awesome. Okay, there we go. Again, just break it up. Because if you don't break it up, the roots will not be loose enough to eventually just flourish. Okay, so I've got that in the middle. Now that I have this taking up the pot, I can go in and kind of play around with spacing. So I have a lot of pansies. I bought more than I probably need, but I did that because they were also on sale. So I'm probably going to do, I'm going to do 5 and just space them around. So you've got the dianthus, and again, I've just roughly positioned them. When you are taking a plant out of these containers, don't pull on the actual plant itself. A lot of times you probably will just pull it out of the dirt, and you don't want to do that. So start placing these. There is a science to growing plants, obviously, because that's part of science, but there is not a science to placing them, because it is it's nature and it's very organic. That said, the designer brain in me really likes symmetry, so that's why you'll see that I try to evenly place these out. I love the organic and unexpected in nature, but if I can control the plant a little bit, I will. All right, so now I'm just going to go back in and fill with my creeping Jenny. And so when I do the spillers though, instead of just plopping it straight up and down like that, I angle it out when I plant it to encourage that more of that spilling. If you are in Atlanta right now, like I said, Pike has their pansies and violas and their mums, a lot of their fall plants on sale right now. So go by. Beyond that, they had tons of creeping Jenny. So I was super excited for that, because when it's spring and when it's fall and everyone starts doing their planters, these can run a little low. So these get very tangly, almost like tangled hair. So I like to undo them and fluff them. I'm just going to, in order to save some of the creeping Jenny for my other plant pots, sorry. I'm going to just do 3 on the front, because this will be against the back of the house, and so you're really only going to see that spilling part. So this is my first one. I'll lean it forward a little bit. It's really heavy, or else I would lift it. You have the dianthus, you have the orange pansies, and then mixed between that you have the creeping Jenny. Thanks so much. I'm going to show you my next one. Okay, so now I'm going to show you my second pot. This one, so in the fall, pansies, mums, and ornamental cabbage, ornamental kale, those are my favorite things to do a planter with. Now, I previously did a video where I had the pansies that were my highlight. Now we're going to use the ornamental kale that I picked up. So again, going back to the thriller, filler, spiller. Normally a thriller is really tall, or that's how I think of it. But when I use ornamental kale or ornamental cabbage, I actually use it as my thriller, even though it sits further down. So I will use that. I was hoping today that I would be able to find just a big, beautiful, like purple cabbage that would kind of take up the whole pot. That was not what was in store for me. So I still have that idea, but then I wasn't able to find purple cabbage. So I'm coming back in with some purple violas and then some little purple and gold ones too. I will mix those, but I'm going to do it a little bit differently than I did my previous one with the pansies, where I had the thriller in the middle and then everything else circulating around it. What I want to do for this is take the kale, and I'm going to put it in the back here. I kind of mentioned this, or I did mention this with the creeping Jenny, how I kind of angle it over the side. I'm going to do that with the kale, but so it angles more to the front. So instead of it being planted like this, it will plant like this. So when you walk up to the front door, that will really take quite a spotlight. Let's start. I like to take the ones that look kind of bleh. And that's a scientific term as well. Bleh. All right, you'll take that out. Again, break it up. And then back here. So that it will angle also, I'm going to shape some of the soil around it to hold it in place, really. So I've got that. And then I have the purple and gold, purple and yellow, and the regular purple violas. I mentioned my love of things being organic, as far as, you know, created in just whatever way Mother Nature sees it to be created, but the designer in me likes to plan things out. So I'm going to alternate the purple and gold with the purple. So I'll go purple, purple and gold, purple, purple and gold. And just like I did before, I'm going to be careful in taking the plants out, and I will not pull them. Instead, you just kind of squeeze them out into your hand. Now, let me go back in. Now, as I'm doing this, I'm wondering, kind of coming up with maybe something new. I think what I'm going to do, instead of the alternating thing, I'm going to do Creeping Jenny on the front like that, but then I'm going to group the pansies together so that you'll get more of that pop of color up front. And then, because you will see this from the back, and so you'll also see that the cabbage is kind of angled, I'm going to tuck the Creeping Jenny back behind it to fill in, to backfill some space. Okay, honestly, I have to say, I was not thinking, this was kind of my throw it together pot, where with my other one, I had it in my head as I was shopping. This, I just started grabbing plants at the very end, and that's how this came about. I'm actually really, really loving what just what was just created, if I do say so. So we have the ornamental kale, creeping Jenny, and then the pansies, and I had the viola. I have one extra pansy left that I just tucked her back in there. And so that's how that looks. One more to do. All right, last fall planter. Mums are just synonymous with fall. These are also the easiest planters to do. So all you're gonna do when you buy, this is a 10-inch pot. And again, like I've done with the other pots, I've prepared the soil. I'll break it up, get it in there. And the thing I love about mums in the fall is they just take up all of the space in a planter, and it just looks so pretty just like that. So I do have a couple of creeping Jenny left. Pardon me. I'm gonna go back in, add that, add some over here. Ta-da! And there's that. So there you have it, the 3 iconic plants for the perfect fall planter. You have mums, ornamental cabbage, and pansies. It can't get any more fall than this. Cheers, y'all have a great week.